What's good, everybody? I'm Josiah the Prince, producer, artist, engineer based in Wisconsin, and you're now tuned into the Journey podcast, where we strive to inspire the future generation of creatives, entrepreneurs, and business owners. Today, we have a special guest, y'all. Her group was featured on Billboard's charts, MTV, and so much more. Her group was the first group to be produced by Jermaine Dupri, the founder of So Deaf. Tonight we have Miss Jordan Victoria from Silk Tymes Leather.
Hi. Hi, Josiah the Prince. Thank you so much. First of all, before we get started, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. This is something that I was looking forward to do, so I'm just happy to be here.
I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Before we get started, can you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
About myself personally now in my life, or as in Silk?
As in Silk.
As in Silk, okay. Well, so as you mentioned, Silk Tymes Leather, we were the first artist on signed to Jermaine before he actually launched So Deaf Recordings, but it was So Deaf Productions. That was part late 80s, early 90s when the group actually came out. I'm from Atlanta originally, and so was Leather, originally from Atlanta. Diamond X was from Macon, Georgia, which is about 50 miles away from Atlanta.
Alrighty. Speaking of the name Silk Tymes Leather, where did that name come?
It was a collaboration actually between myself, Leather, and Jermaine's dad. And I was always outgoing, but still voice-wise a little soft-spoken. And so I was kind of more of the feminine one out of the three, although all three of us were, but probably more girly than the three. So then I was actually, selected to be Silk. And that was one of the names that I like. And Leather, Jocelyn actually liked Leather. She, as you know, her voice had a little more bass, a little bit tougher. So it fit her perfectly. And then Jermaine Dad, which is Michael Malden, actually decided, opposed to being Silk and Leather, he decided like Tymes would be really great and to come up with the X. At the time, we didn't have Diamond X. It was just the two of us, just Leather and I. So we were still Silk Tymes Leather. And then we started looking for a female DJ and auditioning. And then we came up with a name for Diamond X. So she actually bridged the two. The X was the X from XXL, bridging the two together, all three.
Pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Speaking of Jermaine Dupri, how did you end up meeting Jermaine, and what was it like working with him on your album?
Okay, so long story, the backstory of meeting Jermaine. I originally met Jermaine when he was 12, and he was actually on the road with Houdini, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, the Fat Boys, and every now and then LL Cool J would come out. He hadn't actually came out as an artist yet, but LL was probably around 15, so we were all young. I was a teenager myself. That was the first originally nationwide like hip hop tour. It was called Fresh Fest, and that was around 84, 85. And I met Houdini. I had gone to a club. I wasn't old enough to be in there. I was older. I was an adult. I was 18. But at the time, I think you had to be maybe 19 or 20 to get in a club. So some friends of mine had gone to a club here in Atlanta called the Phoenix. Houdini was performing that night. We met. We became friends. Long story short, Jalil and I from Houdini were actually engaged. So I toured the whole entire Fresh Fest, and Jermaine was on the tour. At the time, we thought everyone on the tour was from New York, which they were, except for myself. And come to find out, once we got to New York, which was the last show of the last leg of the tour, we were sitting in the hotel and we're talking. And I said, I'm from Atlanta. Jermaine goes, I'm from Atlanta. And I go, wait a second. Where are you from? And he says, College Park. I go, I'm from College Park. We literally lived like 2 miles from each other. Wow. And from that point, his dad was on the road with him, which is how I met his father. His aunt was his manager out on the road because his dad was working the tour. And we became friends and family from that time. When I decided that I wanted to put together a group, of course, I was influenced by being out on the road and being out there with Houdini and seeing them every night doing all this performance. It was something that I still enjoyed as a kid. And that was an opportunity. So I saw the talent that Jermaine had. He would, play Jermaine was really smart even at that age. So with his allowance, he would buy equipment and with his allowance and then continuously save his allowance or any fund monies that he would receive. And then he would trade up that equipment to get something else. And he had a studio in his bedroom. In one of the guest bedrooms, he actually turned it into a studio. So I went to him one day and I said, hey, he's making beats and he was really good. He taught himself how to DJ, play the keyboards, just like all instruments. This is just how talented this little prodigy was, right? And I said that I wanted to start a group. I went to Leather and she and I met through a mutual friend. She wanted to be a part of the group. We went to Jermaine and as they say, he did a demo. Funny thing is we actually our recording booth was the closet. So we literally would go in the closet. He had taken the door off of the closet. There was a sock over the mic. So because we didn't have the little shit in front of the mic, so it wouldn't pop. He had a little 4-track and he went from the 4-track to his, till he moved up. But that's how that whole story started, meeting him at that age. And we've been friends and family ever since.
That's interesting that the mic setup like that in the way the audio sounds on it. It sounds like it was recorded in a professional studio. So
the demos, I'll say this, the demos were actually recorded in the bedroom. And then he took the demos to his dad and says, hey, okay, so Jordan, this is her group and blah, 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 right? And that's how his dad actually started managing us because he saw the talent. And from those demos, he took those and shopped it and we signed with Geffen. And then we recorded actually in Philadelphia at Studio 4 with Joe the Butcher. So those were actually real recordings at that particular time, but all the demos were done in Jermaine's bedroom.
Okay. How did it feel when you found out that Geffen Records wanted you to be part of their team?
It was an amazing feeling. Things, the way that it happened, I don't want to say it happened fast, but it still probably happened sooner than we anticipated it to happen. But we were just excited. I was like anyone who would have signed us, of course, I would have been excited, but to have been signed to a major label, that was a big deal for us to do that and to be the first rap artist or group in Atlanta or Georgia to sign to a major label. So it was a big deal. And to be females on top of that is a big deal.
Right. Well, I'm really honored to have major labels on my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, from the time recording the demo to the signing with Geffen Records, how long do you think that process was?
Oh, really good question. I would say, I think it still probably took about a year or so because we were, still honing our skills and talents at the time. You would have thought that we had already signed just because, again, Jermaine was younger than us, but he was just a little powerhouse. It's just the rehearsals and everything. We probably like a year, maybe a year and a half. So again, not a very long time, but it still was, not rapid, not overnight, rather.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. It sounds like y'all put in the work to get it within that year. So y'all were definitely doing y'all thing.
Definitely.
Before you were approaching records, did you go through an artist development process?
Yeah. It's called JD Boot Camp. For sure. We did. So still with the label as well, but again, JD's Boot Camp beats anything. And what you see on TV and when he was doing the show, The Rap Game, nothing compared to what we would do. So literally, we were turned their living room, he and his mom's living room, and their sliding glass door was like our mirror, right? So we had Jermaine felt that his favorite artist and dance is Michael Jackson. And he felt that we were like little Michael Jacksons, right? So every type of move, hip hop, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos. The one that we did, The Woman in Me, we're actually holding. Remember the dance where you would hold your foot and then jump the other foot? Yes. So we had to learn how to do that. We would go down in the split, come up. It was just very up tempo, really fast. Jermaine goal was for us to be able to rap, not lose your breath, and dance at the same time. So 8 hours a day was that, just grooming, thinking of what we wanted the style to be. He was hands-on. It was more than just him producing our record. Like, it was literally, of course, we were his group, and he was actually one of our dancers as well too in the video. So he was hands-on all the way through. So we had a lot of grueling artist development. What were you saying?
I was gonna ask if he was in the video dancing with you and The Woman.
Yes, he was. Jermaine was in the videos. He was on tour with us too.
I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually was on. He was on tour, and his best friend Eddie. They were some of our backup dancers and tour with us the whole time.
Speaking of the tour and the boot camp, as an artist, there's a lot of ups and downs that can cause you to want to throw in the towel. What motivated you to keep going and not give up on each other?
One, I can personally say for me, I am the type of person that if I set my mind to something and if I start it, then I am going to give over 100% to make sure that it is completed. I'm also very hard on myself. I have very high expectations of myself, and I don't compete with anyone but myself. So for me, I was like all in all the way from the beginning. It was my idea. It was me who selected the group members. It was me that took it to Jermaine. It was me that had, and I'm not saying this to like pat myself on the back or take anything away from my other members of the group at all, but they would agree, the whole idea and everything came from me. So for that to stem from me, I was definitely all in. We would encourage each other. There were times when, they may not have had, been 100% or wanted to do a promotional date or something like that. And maybe in times that I may not have been 100%. But so it was a sisterhood, and it was that we had to hold each other accountable and make sure that we were there. And they enjoyed it as well too. I mean, they enjoyed being artists and the accolades that came with it. So they were in it to a certain extent until we dismantled. But yes.
Okay. Well, at least y'all were stick together and make it to billboards and achieve what y'all were trying to achieve. Speaking of billboards, though, Silk Tymes Leather has been featured on Billboard's charts, on MTV, and in magazines. Tell me about the first time you saw yourself on TV or heard yourself on the radio. How did it feel?
Okay, let me start with the radio. So the first time that I heard myself on the radio, I think we were together, and when it came on, we were all just mouths wide open, like looking at each other, like, oh my god, oh my god. The first time on TV, of course, when we did MTV Raps, we taped it, and then when it aired, it felt really good because then the phone started ringing, family got to see it. A lot of friends who didn't even know that we were doing what we were doing saw it and started reaching out. So it's just, you feel like you've made some accomplishments, and that was a really good accomplishment to hear your music for the first time, see your performance for the first time, and to hear other people talk about it and reach out to you. Like it's a good feeling. You feel like all the work that you put into it, that it's worth it, and it's just enough to keep you going.
That's a great feeling. I'm sure it is. And I've been on the radio, and I know the first time you brought to everybody that my music was on the radio the first time. I was excited.
I was just going to ask you, when you heard yourself, or were you nervous the very first time that you were behind a mic at a radio station?
Oh, behind the mic on the radio station. I haven't personally been in person on the radio station, but I've been on online radio, and I was extremely nervous. I had to host the what was it? The Carolina Music Awards and Industry Nights, little New Year's event on SC Hip
Uh-huh.
Hop 100 in South Carolina, and I had to drink wine in order to calm myself down. Honestly,
Yes.
I just
And believe it or not, even though I think the very first time we won the radio, um, I remember I think we were in Philadelphia, and we were sitting there and they asked a question and everyone just sort of froze because although no one can see you, but you're just thinking like thousands of people are listening. And so we just all froze. And then the
right.
MC, the DJ was said, okay, someone has to say something. And I was always that person to like make sure that there's not too much dead silence and kind of jump in. And after that, we were fine. But that first time is, believe it or not, behind the other side of that mic, you get jitters for real.
Um, Honestly, I definitely had a lot of jitters. I was very hopeful that I didn't just have the dead silence just sitting there on the radio. um, but what is Silk Times Leather up to nowadays?
So up to nowadays, I'll start with me since I'm Silk. I actually own a interior architecture design firm that is based here in Atlanta. We do commercial hospitality. We're actually designing or have already designed, haven't started new construction yet for a new nightclub in downtown Los Angeles that would be on the rooftop of a hotel. We do high-end residential as well, multifamily, have a multifamily project in Los Angeles, several projects in New York and here in Atlanta as well. I've always stuck to creativity, design. It's always been what's driven me. Um, Although I'm not an artist, but I do still hold on to my music because I love it. As you can see, that's, behind me. There's always Pandora going 24/7. It drives my creativity. I can't work without having my music on. It helps me to think and flow. For Leather, I have not spoken with her in several years, but she actually owns a car lot selling cars that I heard she also won the lottery. And so she's doing well as well. And for Diamond X, the last time that she and I communicated, which was via social media, she was in Los Angeles, I think working on a project for film that she's helping on producing. So she still has her hand in the entertainment side of things as well.
Okay. Um, is there any advice you would like to give artists on the come up that you wish you would have been given prior to becoming an artist?
I would say probably learning more about the business in itself because it is called music business. And that is something that you should take control over and learn more about than anything. We were young, and yeah, contractual wise, there's some things that I was 18, 19, so I was able to sign out my own contract. I would definitely, I don't sign anything now without having some legal representation on my side to look at it, although we did then, but we didn't know much about it, right? And I would definitely probably take it to someone that's maybe an entertainment attorney that knows the difference, and not just an attorney over other industries. But learn as much as you can. Marketing and branding is very important. You put out what you want your audience to see, and I think just respect the industry in itself, for sure.
Definitely, definitely. Marketing and branding is definitely important, and definitely being knowledgeable on contracts and just working
Mhm.
with anybody in the industry. You should definitely be safe and have a second eye check out on everything that you do when you're working in any type. Um,
Mhm.
could you tell people where they can?
No, you did break up a little bit. Tell people what now.
Oh, I apologize. Can you tell people where they can find your music at and where to find your business nowadays as well?
Well, you probably know a little bit more about where they can find the music for sure, but I do know that there are videos on YouTube. Um, we were
Oh,
right around the time when it was still vinyl and cassettes, and I think the last part maybe CDs. So I'm not sure. Probably some old mom and pop stores may have some of the originals that are out there, but definitely could be on iTunes. I'm not sure, but YouTube for sure. Videos are there. In regards to where you can find me, what I'm currently doing, the name of my interior design firm is called Atelier Jordan. And I am actually on social media at Atelier Jordan, and that is ATELIER JORDAN. That's on IG as well as Twitter, as well as LinkedIn and Facebook. And then I also have an online store, which is a affordable fashion boutique for ladies, and that is called Atelier Jordan Boutique. And you can actually find that on IG, Facebook, and on the website as well at atelierjordan.boutique. And then the interior design would be atelierjordan.design is the website for that. But I do want to show you something really cool too, because for all my ladies, got the nice, actually Jordan Victoria. These are my brand sneakers. So really nice, cool, sparkling shine. Actually have them in a gorgeous pink.
nice.
Thank you. And then the last color I actually have.
Wow, my daughter was.
So they take any outfit you have. If you're casual and you want to actually step it up a notch,
Make sure you.
These are the ones. So those are atelierjordan.boutique. And like I said, the website is atelierjordan.design for anything design related.
Great. Make sure y'all tap in with Miss Jordan Victoria from Silk Tymes Leather. Thank you for joining us today, Miss Victoria.
You're definitely welcome again. It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and much success to you as well.